going on, guys? iIZFUEGO here, and I've got my PC build list. Finally, it took a little bit, just a little hassle to get it, but as promised in my last commentary, I'm going to be giving you a breakthrough of all my PC parts, as well as, things you might want to know, like how fast, my PC is per se, or, the ultra specs basically of my entire PC. So for this video, I will be taking out the case because I know, yes, it's a very lovely case, but you want to be able to see what's inside of it. So we're going to be doing that in a second. We resumed our recording of this video, and as you can see, I took it all apart. Nothing big, just unscrew. It's a very basic chassis, and there's nothing much to it. It's just bolts and screws basically. So what we're going to be talking about, obviously we should talk about the case first. Now this is the X-Predator x3 Devil Red Edition case, and personally I like it. I mean, contrary to what I'm wearing right now, which is red and white, I'm wearing red and white right now, but I like black and red. That's my favorite color scheme. I love it. So when I was browsing, I really couldn't find anything except blues and blacks. Basically, those are very hard to find, very easy to find. As for red and black, though, you really don't find one. So if you like the red and black color scheme and you want something nice and techy, and fierce looking and stuff like that, I really suggest the X-Predator Red 3. It goes up and down with these little fins up here. It's pretty cool. That's good for air ventilation. The case has already a pre-installed 20 centimeter intake fan, you could say. You can reverse them, but why go through the trouble? And you have a 12 centimeter exhaust fan. Now it does have two side panels. I did take them out, and I installed fans in them. These are vents, and I think the top two up here, those are vents also that you can basically turn into fan slots too. I only chose the windows because this is actually really hard to reach up here. I didn't want to go through the trouble. So yeah, that's the case. It's not bad. It's about 120 bucks, for the X-Predator Red Devil Edition, and it's really nice. It's really nice. I like the whole scheme. It just went perfect with what I wanted. All my parts are either red or black, and it's really cool. So, speaking of parts, the first thing we have, which is hidden behind this, this ginormous CPU cooler, is the CPU itself. So, for the CPU cooler, it's this big thing. I should make a side mention before anything. This is a heatsink. This is its very own heatsink. Basically, it has a bunch of pipes that are running, through the CPU. Well, not through the CPU, but on top of the CPU. It absorbs the heat, disperses it through these heat sinks, and attached to that, I have a fan so that, the heat will disperse faster towards the exhaust fan. You can see these two exhaust fans go together. It pushes all the heat out in a very, very fast way. I didn't want it to go this way because that means that this would be a huge heat pocket for the RAM sticks, and that's not good. You don't want those to get, every single part in this PC is essential, but you really don't want to ruin your RAM sticks because, even though they're not as expensive as the CPU themselves, they are very expensive to replace, and, going at about $99 for 2 sticks, it's pretty high. And we'll get to those RAM sticks later, but yeah, behind this ginormous CPU cooler, we have the actual CPU, which is an i7-4770K CPU from Intel. Its 4th generation Haswell i7 series, which means that you can hyperthread. It's really fast, and it's 4th generation. I have no complaints for this processor. It goes at a stock standard of 3.5 gigahertz. I have it overclocked for 3.9 because I'm overclocking, which is because the 4770K, well, the K in any processor means that you can overclock it. It has the option to be overclocked. For me, I didn't want to go above 4.0 because as we can see here, I have a 750 watt Antec power supply. The power supply I have right now is not enough to be overclocking. So if I wanted to, I would change this for about an 850 or a 900 just to be sure. By the way, this is an 80 plus Antec. We'll go through that later. But yeah, you need enough power to be able to overclock. Not having enough power can short your system, cause malfunctions, blue screens. It can do some nasty stuff. So if you're going to be overclocking, make sure you have a very good power supply. If you want to overclock, make sure your GPU, it might as well be pretty good as well. So speaking of GPU, we have the EVGA GeForce GTX 660, and for me it's a pretty average graphics card. It's not the best, but it by no means is it terrible either. I mean, there's plenty more terrible different types of graphics cards, and this one, I mean, it's great. It has a DVI-D, DVI minus slot. It has an HDMI and a VGA. It has support for up to 4 monitors, and it's capable of two-way SLI, as you can see on this port. Well, you can't really see it, but I'll show you in a sec. And it's just absolutely nice. I like the graphics that I've had so far with it. I haven't really played any any graphically demanding games so far, like Battlefield and stuff like that. But if I were to test it, it would probably do well on a single screen by itself. Maybe even 2 screens, because it does have support for up to 4 monitors, which is great. I really like that. If you want to add another graphics card, which you can, because this board, which we will talk about in a second, has up to 3 PCI Express slots. If you wanted to, you can have another one of these GeForce GTX 660s. Now, the only thing about it is that you can only have 2 cards because it only has a one-way support. If it had more than that, I would have put it on. But again, you won't be able to use all the PCI Express slots on your board. You can only use 2, but me personally, it's good because the power supply that I have, it wouldn't support 2 anyway. If I ever want to change my power supply, I can do that, and just, change it for 1,000 while I'm trying to overclock this, and basically have 2 graphics cards. Now, people ask sometimes, what are the difference between, just one graphics card, 2-way SLI, which SLI is for more than one, graphics card, 2-way SLI, 3-way SLI, and up to 4-way SLI. Now, really hitting 3 and 4-way SLI, that's pushing it a little too much. Like, you really don't have any applications that are graphically demanding and stuff like that. So I think it's just a waste. It's a waste of power supply. It's a very huge waste of money to me, because each graphics card is about 160 bucks for these 660s. So if you want to spend that money, and if you want to benchmark high for Battlefield 4 and all those really, really graphically powerful games, then go ahead, you can do that. But for what I'm using them for, I really don't need it. This graphics card is just fine the way it is. Again, GeForce GTX 660, not bad. It's about 160 bucks. So, oh, and on that mark, the CPU was $319, I believe, for the i7. Anyways, next, what we have that is sitting all the way in the back, and it's like, I'm lonely. Well, not anymore. We have the Asus Maximus 6 Hero motherboard, and this is, it's an Asus motherboard. I go for Asus because it's really top of the line when making motherboards. I also have a monitor by them. I basically have a lot of them. Like, and that would be cool if Asus could sponsor me. That would be that would be something. So, yeah. But it's an Asus motherboard. It has obviously the socket, RAM stick slots. It's got a bunch of cool features. This is a Republic of Gamers motherboard. So if you're going into gaming for this, for a PC, you want to look at the ROG, which is Republic of Gamers. You want to look at their series. They have a whole bunch, like Formula, Hero, a whole bunch of them. They came out with their 7th line, and it's actually pretty nice. They have some cool stuff, cool features, cool software. There's one, and specifically sonic radar, which gives you a second radar depending on footsteps and bombs and gunshots. So it's basically another Turtle Beach, but instead it's an application for your PC, you know, which is pretty nice. Yeah, and that does about it. You know, it's a standard motherboard. It has 8 SATA slots. It has 4 RAM stick slots, a CPU slot. It has, again, 3 PCIs Express. You have one 16 by 1, an 8 by 2, and a 4 by 3, which, you know, you really don't want to use. And it's just nice. This one, you know, you have an automatic start and reset button so that you don't have to, you know, most motherboards you won't be able to do that. You have to, you know, hit these 2 pins on your motherboard real quick in order to start it. But this one has an onboard start button. It also has one cool feature. It has this, if I could get it out real quick, it has this little thing up here. You probably can't see it, but I'll try to put a picture up. It has a little heads-up display. It has these 2 numerical has some numerical numbers. It has a numerical system where you have a whole bunch of codes. It has letters, numbers, and stuff like that. And while your PC is running, if it comes through an error, you can look at the at that box, and depending on what number you have, it tells you what's wrong with the system. So, like, let's say Q5. Let's say that's, you know, RAM sticks are going bad. Then you know that the RAM sticks are not good. You know, that you need to change them or do whatever with them. Make sure that they're fitted in. And there you go. The board itself is actually there to help you, which I like about that. You know, looking at these Asus ROG boards, I think they were pretty nice and they look cool. All those features and stuff. One thing I really do like is that it has onboard LEDs. The board actually lights up red. I like that. That's freaking cool. The buttons, they light up as well. I think it was just a fantastic board in my opinion, and it's pretty cool. It's really cool to have, you know, all themed, the red and black. That, again, the red and black, it just really gets to me. So we have that. Now, we've been talking about RAM sticks for a while, so we might as well go to them. We have 2x4 gigabyte Corsair Vengeance RAM sticks. I really like Corsair for their RAM sticks. It's pretty cool. They're very reliable, don't take up a lot of power, and basically it's just RAM. It's just RAM. Now, for PC gamers, you kind of want more than 8 gigabytes of RAM. I'm not exactly a PC gamer. You know, I'm very casual gamer. If anything, I play very little games that require anything, you know, anything that looks really good, like Battlefield again, or, you know, Call of Duty, or whatever you want to play. You know, I don't know what you guys do with that PC, but yeah, 8 gigabytes of RAM, nothing much really over there. Now, over here we have drives. We have these cool drives. I can't take them out. But yeah, over here in this bottom one, it's actually, you really can't see it, but it's a SSD. It's a Samsung Evo 840 series solid state drive. And so solid state drives are a little bit more powerful than these standard hard drives that you have, which, you know, hard drives, they hold stuff, you know, they hold your memory. These SSDs are actually a little bit faster. You know, they come in different types. They have hard drives, solid state drives, and hard disk hybrids. Now, hard disk hybrids, you know, they're a little bit of both. You know, they're the middle. You know, hard disk and solid state. Solid state is the absolute fastest you can get. It does cost a bit per dollar. You know, when you get a hard disk drive, it costs like literally like less than a penny per gigabyte, you could say. I have this 2 terabyte and I got it for $80. So over here you can say I have 4 terabytes, 2 terabyte hard drives and stuff like that. So that being said, you have 4 terabytes of memory over here. This SSD is 256 gigabytes. I really didn't need that much for the solid state. One, because they're very expensive. You really don't need that much memory on your stuff. You don't, you know, if you're running an SSD, all you're going to be using it for is your operating system and, you know, whatever functions that you really need. You know, stuff like, you know, again, your operating system, your software for, you know, like running live streams and Hauppauge or Elgato, whatever you use. And, you know, that's basically it. Everything else, like your videos and you know, your pictures and stuff like that, whatever you're going to use for editing and stuff, you can throw that on a hard drive. It really isn't that big of a difference that you want to buy like a 2 terabyte solid state drive, which I haven't heard before, but you know, it can be like that, I guess, sometime in the near future. I hope it does. I would like to see that, actually. So basically the last part is this optical drive. I can't open it because it's latched in there. You hit these little latches and stuff like that, and it opens up. But it's a standard light-on 24-speed writer for, you know, for loading disk and like your operating system and stuff like that. So I mean, I guess we've covered just about everything. We have the CPU, the RAM sticks, video card. Oh yeah, let's talk about the power supply, I guess. Basically, this is an 80+ gold certification. Now, there's different certifications for your power supply, and depending on how powerful it is, it can be 80+ certified. So basically, 80+ certified means that it's guaranteed to give you at least 80% of the energy that it says it will. So if it's a 750 watt, that means 80% of that will be 600 watts. You're basically going to have a minimum of 600 watts running through your system, and that's great. You know, you don't have to worry about shorts and stuff like that. If you know that all of this runs on at least 600, 600 is going to be your bet. So you might as well get a 750. Basically, you take your power supply, increase it by an extra 25%, and that's how you're gonna, you know, you're gonna manage your electricity well. Your board won't be shorted out and stuff like that. You know, in the case that it does, it better be like thunderstorming or something like that, and you get hit pretty hard. But yeah, basically that's all we have for this PC build sort of guide. You know, a list of, you know, the things that I have in my PC. Hopefully you guys really enjoyed this commentary. I'm gonna throw down a link for you guys of where I bought all this stuff and the website that I was able to get all this stuff from, you know, linked to. So basically I got the link to this website, and then that website linked all of these products, and it actually does pretty good. It gives you a compatibility filter, tells you which CPUs can go with which graphics processors, or which motherboards can fit in which cases. It's actually really cool because you don't want to buy pieces and then make a mistake like, oh my gosh, this motherboard won't fit this case. You know, what happens after that? You know, you can't really do anything about that. So, you know, again, it's not so bad. Don't worry about, you know, things not fitting, unless if you're going to get, you know, a completely outrageous PC, then you're going to have to, you know, check with the compatibility filter. But it should be turned on and stuff like that. And yeah, I really enjoy this PC a lot. It gets the job done for me, and I love the color scheme. Like, every time I look at it, I'm not going to turn it on right now. I don't have the power supply over there. But if you turn it on, it, you know, it goes, you know, bright red LEDs and stuff like that. Like, this little LED strip is actually pretty powerful and stuff like that. It lights up everything. So it's really beautiful in the dark. And I just love it. I love this PC, and I really thank you guys for the support and the motivation for making this PC and stuff like that. So thank you guys again for watching this video. Hopefully you guys enjoy it, and I will see you guys later. If you have any questions about this PC, put it in the comment section below, and I will see you guys later. Before I go out.